welcome to BFS Wargaming. So today we are going to talk about how to deal with Mortarion. So obviously he's been the talk of the Warhammer community since the Death Guard Codex, well, yeah, since the rules basically got put out there. A lot of people are screaming that he's overpowered, he needs a nerf, which I think it's too early to really make those calls. I think, you know, lots of different armies need to play against him. There's a lot of armies that haven't got codexes yet. Also because there's not much of a tournament scene out there at the moment. It's usually the tournament players and the competitive players who really come up with things to deal with these things, like if something's very, very strong. And so we're going to talk about ways of dealing with Mortarion today. And to be honest, this goes along with the Terminators as well, because the Terminators are also quite hard to get rid of. So we'll come up with a few different options, and I'll talk about some of the different armies. I haven't done every army, but I've talked about some of the different armies and ideas that each army could use to deal with Mortarion, either by trying to kill him or maybe by trying to tie him up and just keep him out of the game, as it were. So big thanks to Ollie Pickett, who helped me come up with some of these ideas. So first off, we'll start with the Necrons, because he's probably the most obvious. And I've put the C'tans. Specifically, the Nightbringer is definitely the best at it. The reason the Nightbringer is the best at it is because he not only ignores invulnerable saves, but he also ignores things that ignore damage. So he's ignoring the -1, he's ignoring the feel no pain. So that's obviously really nice, and it's really strong against Mortarion. Probably the strongest unit against Mortarion. So the best way to deal with him is the Nightbringer. But also the other C'tans have mortal wound output as well. And they also have a stratagem where you can ignore invuln saves. So they also have a good chance of dealing a lot of damage. And maybe if you've dealt enough damage, then a few Doomsday Cannon shots or something like that can then go in and finish him off once you've done quite a few wounds to him. So that is how the best way, I think, with the Necrons to deal with Mortarion. Then we have the Chaos Space Marines. Now, Chaos Space Marines, I haven't gone too in depth with how to do it, but Death Hex is by far going to be the best choice. Death Hex him, and then just put everything into him. You could probably do some mortal wounds on top of that with some sorcerers or something, and then, you know, obliterators, anything you can use, guns. Jump in there with some close combat stuff and just do as many wounds as you can while he hasn't got an invuln. That would be the best bet, I think, for Chaos Space Marines. And then we move over to normal Marines. You've got a couple of options with normal Marines. You've got stuff like Catechism of Fire, which is +1 to wound. You've got Null Zone, so if you can get a Librarian close to him, Null Zone him, get loads of stuff to shoot with him, that +1 to wound. You might be able to deal enough damage to kill him, or at least bring him down to a point where, you know, maybe you'll kill him the next turn, because your Librarian will be dead if Mortarion isn't that turn. The other thing you can do is something durable like Blade Guard, for instance. Put them into him and then just transhuman them. And I've worked out that each time Mortarion hits them with their transhuman, they lose 1 model. So if you've got 5, 6 models, that's the whole game, depending whether he's activating twice a battle round. But that's most of the game he's taken out, basically, which is really, really nice. So transhuman is huge against Mortarion. If you can transhuman stuff, he's not going to do anywhere near as much damage. And because his damage output against Imperium has been muted anyway, because of the fact that he hasn't got Death to the False Emperor, because Death to the False Emperor was huge against Imperium for Mortarion, because he was just getting so many extra attacks. So yeah, that's, I think, the best ways with Space Marines. Then you have Grey Knights. So Grey Knights, Tide of Escalation, and then he's a demon. So 4 mortal wounds per smite. That's going to mess up Mortarion's day. I mean, Grey Knights are probably the best equipped to deal with Mortarion as it stands. If nothing changed, I mean, obviously their codex isn't out yet, but if they still have that and they still have the demon thing, they're going to be the best equipped to deal with Mort. Because you can just stick models, and there's other ways to do mortal wounds as well, but you can just stick, you know, small units, cheap units, keep throwing them in there and just dealing mortal wounds, and then loads of bolt of fire. You know, it's probably gonna take, well, it will take him down in 2 turns, maybe even 1 turn, depending on how lucky you are with the rolls for the smite and how unlucky he is with his 5-up Feel No Pains. So yeah, Grey Knights are pretty well equipped. Thousand Suns, similar to Grey Knights, well, a cross between Grey Knights and Chaos Space Marines basically. Death X him, loads of mortal wounds, a bolt of fire at AP -2. You know, you'll start plinking wounds off him that way, and then obviously Magnus can jump in once he's Death X'd, start cutting him up, and you know, between all of that, you probably could kill him in a turn, if not 2. And also Mortarion probably won't kill Magnus if he's got -1 to hit and he's got the 3-up invuln. Magnus will probably survive. So yeah, definitely a good way to kill Mortarion is with Thousand Suns. Then we have the Eldar Craft World. So Craft World have some good tools. They've got Doom, so you're re-rolling all wounds. They've got Jinx to mess up his save, and Guide to re-roll all hits. They can also deal out mortal wounds, and then just shoot as much stuff as they can at him. So, you know, Craft Worlds probably are up there with a good army to deal with Mort. Obviously, guys, as I'm going through, you might have thought of other things, so please comment below. Let me know other ways that you think are good with dealing with Mort. Then you have Guard. So Guard have got a couple of ways. They could stick a load of Bullgryns into him and then just tie him up and take him out of the game that way. Just hope that you know, the Bullgryns survive long enough that it takes Mortarion out of the game. The other one is Relic of Lost Cadia, which only is for 1 turn now, but you re-roll and hit some wounds. So yeah, if you've got enough guns, you might be able to kill him that way. Then you have Drukhari. Now, Drukhari haven't really got enough firepower to deal with Mort. I think their best bet would be Racks and Grots, Prophets of Flesh, 4-up invuns. Just keep throwing units of Racks and Grots into him. Just tie him up. Hope they survive. Hope your 4-up invuns rolls are good. And yeah, just keep them out of the game that way. Orcs, again, you've got Boys, you've got Gaz. Tie him up, keep him out of the game. Maybe do some damage to him. Custodes, I mean, Bike Captains with a 3-up invuln. You know, and then you can put one of them with a 5-up Feel No Pain. You could probably hold him for a couple of turns with a Bike Captain. Then stick another Bike Captain into him. Maybe hold him for another 2 turns. Because also remember, Mortarion's probably not doing anything turn 1. If he's in a pure Death Guard list. He's not going to be doing anything turn 1. He's moving up. So it's only really, you've got to hold him for 4 turns. Or keep him out of the game for 4 turns if you don't want to try and destroy him. Then we have Demons. Now, Demons have the Exalted Lord of Change. Again, we don't know if this is going to change with the Codex, but just stick the Exalted Lord of Change in the most durable way you can make him, and literally Mortarion and him will just sit there all day, and they won't ever move. It'll just be them 2 till turn 5, and then you can play with the rest of your armies. And also the Exalted Lord of Change is cheaper, so, you know. And so you got Sisters and Admech, which probably the best thing for them to do is try and shoot them off the table, because they're 2 of the armies that may have enough guns to do it. Admech have got ways of dealing mortal wounds and things like that, so yeah. Nids, you could try mortal wounds, and then just time up with anything you've got that's durable, like Gene Stealers with a 5-up invuln. Stick Catalyst on them with a 5-up Feel No Pain, and then just try and tar pit him, and then you know, so you could probably hold him for 2 or 3 turns with 2 units of 20 gene stealers. Stick the first lot in and then stick the second lot in once them ones are dead. That might be enough to target him for most of the game. Yeah, so anything you can get +1 to wound against him if you're trying to kill him is obviously amazing. And anything that can make him fight last. If he's coming in and you're managing to do wounds to him before you die, and then he goes into the next thing and you're managing to do wounds to him before you die, then you might be able to, you know, plink him off and take him out that way. But yeah, they're the sort of the best options, I think, to deal with Mortarion. Now, if he's in, that's as if he's in a pure Death Guard list. If he's in a soup list and he's got access to warp time, then it's a different matter, because he is getting turn 1. There's lots of things that, you know, a soup list completely changes him, and I'm really hoping that they sort out the warp time thing, because that is one thing I think that makes him way too strong, is to be able to warp time. So hoping when the Chaos Space Marine and the Thousand Suns codexes come out that warp time is restricted. I actually think it should be restricted to core. Let me know what you think on that, or maybe infantry models. But yeah, I don't think you should be able to warp time Mortarion across the board. It might be a little bit too strong. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've come up with any other ideas and ways of dealing with Mort with your armies. I hope you found this useful. Please like and subscribe if you did. And stay lucky, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.